First, my name is Deborah Poulalion. I'm running for Seminole County Supervisor of Elections. Another thing I always like to get out of the way is how to say the name. So first, think of a pool. Second, think of an alien. I usually think of E.T. I am not into the scary alien thing. So it's Poulalion. Deborah Poulalion.
All right.
So more seriously, the reason I'm running for Seminole County Supervisor of Elections is because this position literally defends democracy in our county.
That's right.
It's a very local thing, voting rights and voting protection, and your Supervisor of Elections is your first line of defense. So I believe the Supervisor of Elections office should operate on a very basic premise that we want people to vote. And any reasonable action that we can take to make sure people vote and make sure those votes count, we need to do it. And on the flip side, we should not waste any resources on anything that does not serve that purpose. I think that's very important to consider. We haven't had two people on the ballot since 2006. So come 2020, that'll be 14 years. We've had people appointed. Well, we had Mike Ertel was appointed. Someone ran against him in 2006, our wonderful Miss Marion Williams.
Yep.
And she was not elected. He was there a long time. He was gone. Somebody else was appointed, and I'm running against that appointed person. So when you don't have an election in that many years, people get complacent. There's really no reason to go beyond the status quo. So it's very, I'm proud. I'm proud to be the one that said we can't do it this way any longer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself personally. I've been in Seminole County more than 25 years. Most of it has been in Longwood. I'm a proud resident of Longwood. We are standing in Longwood right now, actually, at Ryder Park. I'd also like to say I have two sons, Joshua and Jacob Poulalion. They're at the University of Florida. I not only love them, I like them, and they like me. And I think that's the best you can ask for in this world, honestly. My day job is I analyze survey data at the Institute of Internal Auditors. I also have a master's degree in journalism from the University of Florida. I'm known for speaking out for what I believe. I go to, county meetings and city meetings, and I just say what's important to me. I take action for what I believe in. And that is why I am ready to lead, and I am ready to start making change in Seminole County. I'm going to give you my top 10. My top 10 things I want to change. I could say more, but I'm sticking to just top 10. First, early voting at Seminole State College. This is simple. In 2018, we could have had it, and they said no, it was a commuter school, so they could just drive over to the Lake Mary Library. They didn't need it. This is ridiculous. There are 14,000 students at the Sanford Lake Mary campus, and about half of them are from Seminole County. That's according to their own statistics. So it is an ideal place to have early voting. It would not only help the students vote, but it would actually relieve congestion at all the other voting locations throughout Seminole County. 2020 is going to be very busy, and we need this. So I go on campus and I tell the student, I pass out a little paper and I tell them, ask for this. Because if you ask, people are going to listen, and you need early voting at Seminole State College. Voter education in high school. It needs to be organized. It needs to happen in every high school every year, and it needs to go beyond just, hey, here's how you register to vote. Students need to know what voting is like. They need to experience it. In other counties, they actually bring in the voting equipment and let the students use it for their student elections. Seminole County, we don't do that. Instead, they bring the voting equipment in for the elementary and middle school students to vote on their favorite book, which is nice. But if our job is to help people vote, the people that are going to vote are in high school.
That's right.
Third, prepaid postage for our vote by mail. First thing is it's not as expensive as people think. I'd also like to point out that you only pay for the envelopes that get mailed back. So we're not, leaving money, we're not mailing money away. It's only the envelopes that get mailed back. So I worked out just a rough estimate based on the 2016 numbers. So they got about 90,000 vote by mail envelopes returned to them. So they would have had to pay for those if they had covered that cost, which would be about $74,000. This is really a minimal expense compared to a county budget or even the supervisor of elections budget. It's a service that Orange and Osceola are already providing, and we need it in Seminole County.
That's right.
Number 4, early voting on the Sunday before elections. So a supervisor of elections has 8 mandatory days when they must have early voting, and then there are optional days. So for example, in the 2020 general election, the mandatory days are Saturday, October 24th to Saturday, October 31st. Halloween. Those are required. There are 4 optional days before that period, and then the most important day that I'm talking about now is the Sunday before the election is optional. So that's not only important for people who need to vote on the weekends, but also that's Souls to the Polls Sunday. So in many African American churches, that's an event where they go from their church and take the congregation to vote on the Sunday before the election. In Seminole County, it was closed for the 2018 primaries. So that's when we had Andrew Gillum on the ballot for governor. It's unacceptable to have that day closed ever in Seminole County. That's item number 4. Number 5, treat all candidates equally. And by that, I mean, I'd like to point to the Seminole County voter guide. So the voter guide this year, let me explain what it is actually. So the voter guide, it has a good thought behind it. It's sort of all in one. It has how to vote, how to register. It has your voter registration form in it, a vote by mail thing. What I don't like is it has, let me get this right, 40% of it, 9 out of the 24 pages, are pictures of the people who are already in office. Now, I don't mind if you want to tell me what offices you're going to vote for, or even their names, but once it becomes a picture, it becomes an ad. And I'm paying a lot of money to get my face and my name in front of people, and it shouldn't be wrapped up with your voter registration form in Seminole County. That's very inappropriate to me. And also, just on a little personal note, the front of it has the name of the person I'm running against. So every person who registers to vote gets his name put in front of them. This is not fair treatment to candidates. In a similar fashion, if you look on the website, there is also listings of the current elected officials with their pictures. Other supervisors of elections don't do this. Some of them won't even put their names. They'll just put a link to the official website of whoever's elected. So that's number 5, treating all candidates equally. I'm halfway through. Number 6, equal treatment for Spanish and English language information. So Seminole County is has minority language designation for Spanish. We must provide the ballots and the voter information in both English and Spanish. But unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's equally accessible. So right now, if you look at this voter guide, the Spanish is at the bottom. It's in ital and it's in light font. I actually showed it to some Spanish-speaking folks, and they looked at it, they're like, where's the Spanish? I'm like, it's on the bottom there. It looks like fine print, like, you know, medical information that they don't want you to read. So I simply believe that we need to have both languages as equally easy to read in all our materials. And the other thing I'll mention on that is if you call the phone number for the Supervisor of Elections office, if you call any business and they want you to know that they have a Spanish option, they'll say, hello, this is such and such business for Spanish, press 5. So at the Supervisor of Elections office, it's a 60-second message. It gives you every possible response option in English, and then when you finally get to the end of full 60 seconds, it will tell you there's a Spanish option. This is an easy fix. Number 7. I will mention also we need to recruit bilingual poll workers, and I'm not seeing evidence of that recruiting happening, but I hope they do. Number 7, of course, we know that we need to take election security seriously. And I will mention that I looked up some of the past information. When Florida was hacked, we now know Florida was hacked, it was through spear phishing. So that's an email that's sent to employees that poses as a legitimate, something that they should legitimately answer. So it was made to look like it was coming from an election software company called VR Systems. So most didn't fall for it, but we know that 2 counties did. And we also know that in one of them, the election rolls were accessed. I'm not saying it was Seminole. I absolutely have no It has not been made public officially, so we don't know. But what we do know is that we need to be careful, and we need to make sure we have the right resources for our cybersecurity. And we need to realize that it's not just preventing the access, it's also being able to detect after it's happened, recover, and respond. So there are basic principles that we need to follow for that. And I would also, well, that's all I'll say on that. Number 8, don't undermine our poll watchers with humiliating signs. So what is a poll watcher? It's not a poll worker. A poll watcher is someone who comes and they observe what's happening during the election process to make sure it's going well. These are volunteers. It's usually lawyers. They're not working for the supervisor of elections or the state, but it's a third party, and it's permitted by statute. So in Seminole County, they have to wear a sign. It is this big. It is orange. It has their name, their date of birth, and their address visible, completely visible here. It also says that I can challenge your right to vote, and I can't talk to you. And it's unacceptable. It makes it difficult for them to do their job, and what they want to do is protect the vote, and they should be treated as a partner in the system, not to be intimidated that way. Number 9, educate voters about Amendment 4, and that's about if you have a felony on your record, what are your rights for voting now? Currently, there's 500,000 people who are affected by the new rule about fees and fines being paid off. I think the chilling effect is more than just the people who can't vote. There are a lot of people who think they can't vote because they're just not sure. And supervisor of elections can't change the law, but we can have an opinion, and I don't think anybody should have to pay to vote.
That's right.
Last.
It's our constitutional right.
The last one I'm going to mention is accurate and transparent data. And as I mentioned, I am a data analyst at the Institute of Internal Auditors. I believe in accuracy and detail. And one of the things, everyone when they run for office, there's something that made them mad. And this was the thing that made me mad. So after the 2018 election, I wanted to look at the results by precinct. So we have 80 precincts in Seminole County. I just wanted to see in each precinct how many votes were cast. There was a PDF on the website. I downloaded it. I started analyzing it, and I was looking at Joy Goff Marcel, who I worked on her I was her field operations manager. I wanted to see how she did in each precinct. I was looking at it, and she won. Look, she won. But the data I was looking at, she wasn't winning. And I was in a panic. I was like, what is wrong here? And so I started calling around, and the PDF I had downloaded only gave the results for the votes cast on election day. It didn't include vote by mail, and it didn't include early voting. There was no mark on that a regular person would know to say, oh, that this is just a partial results. Nothing on the website, nothing on that piece of paper. So I emailed the supervisor of elections office and explained that this was a serious problem, and they said, well, we're going to get around to it. We'll give you the right information. And they did, about, right before the legal deadline that they needed to do it. So I got it as an email. And a few weeks later, I thought, I'll just get it from the website. Well, the old data was still there. I was horrified. So I emailed them again, I'm sure you didn't realize this, but I'm sure you're going to want to fix this right away. And we went back and forth for months, back and forth. I even had a chance to talk to them in person. They said, oh, we're updating the website. We'll do it when we update it. They didn't do it. It took 8 months. It took 8 months. I think I had filed by the time that the correction was made. But the data is at the heart of what the supervisor of elections needs to do. Now, I do not question the accuracy of their final results, but the accuracy of everything they give to the public is highly important. So that was number 10. Number 10.
Wonderful.
So the last thing I'm going to do is thank everyone for coming today, and to say again that I am Deborah Poulalion. I will be your next supervisor of election for Seminole County.
Yes, you will.
Please visit my website at www.deb4elections.com. That's with the number 4. Follow me on social media, and thank you again.